Tonight, the Premier's billion-dollar spend on housing.
Police arrest high-risk offenders in the Northern Beaches.
Why a cup of coffee could become a luxury.
And a Mackay family buys Little Green Island.
This is 7 News with Joanne, Desmond and Ned Balme.
Good evening, thanks for joining us.
Good evening, thanks for being here.
Well, the Premier was campaigning in town today, making his pitch for a better Mackay. Vital social housing and a crackdown on youth crime are on the agenda.
The Premier celebrated a major milestone in Queensland's Big Build. More than 120 social and modular homes are being delivered to Mackay as part of a grand investment.
We now have $1 billion worth of new homes either completed or under construction.
It's given Dora a chance to move into a new home. She wants others to have that same opportunity.
There are a lot of people around in this area in town, that haven't got a roof over their head.
But there's a push for state government to speed up construction. The local wait list for social housing is now close to 1,700. That's up 150% in the last 8 years.
We're also building modular homes and shipping them out to the regions, including here in Mackay. We don't want to put extra strain on the local construction market.
7 new social homes are already under construction on Palmer Street. It completes the Premier's $30 million investment in Mackay. The LNP was also making promises, reaffirming their pledge to stamp out youth crime.
Well, the LNP has a plan to make our community safe again. We will remove detention as a last resort from the Youth Justice Act.
A local soccer club is a common target for young vandals and is desperate to see change.
It's disheartening because everyone's a volunteer, everyone puts 100% in. It's for our young kids, watching them play, have the enjoyment, and then you come to the club the next day and it's like, everything's broken into.
Bryn Wakefield, 7 News.
19 people have been arrested in a police operation targeting high-risk offenders in the Northern Beaches. Charges range from stealing and possessing dangerous drugs to breaching domestic violence orders. Georgie May Walker has more.
3 of the 19 people charged will face Mackay Magistrates Court here on a total of 15 charges. Kicking the door open. Police searched through a house, finding a shirtless man in his bedroom before arresting him.
Obviously, you were placed under arrest before being placed in the car. We've done a search and located this Scripsel bag.
It's part of an operation called Red Dragon, targeting high-risk offenders in the Northern Beaches.
It was held over a period of 3 days and it involved staff from the Northern Beaches Police Station, the Tactical Crime Squad and also our Mackay District Dog Squad.
Police executed a number of search warrants and arrested 19 people. They were charged with a total of 56 offences, including possessing dangerous drugs, break and enter, failure to appear in court, stealing, contravention of DV orders and more.
It's important to address community concerns about crime matters. Can they expect more of these operations? Yes, I think they're happening all the time.
Police say they will continue to exercise a zero-tolerance policy on offenders committing these crimes, and any alleged offenders will be held responsible by the courts.
Thanks for that, Georgie May. Well, staff at a small business in Mackay are calling on the public to help them find stolen vehicles. Manager Chris Gralo says the JG Centre's rear door was forced open on Saturday night and pricey all-terrain bikes and a buggy were taken. There are reports they've been spotted on local roads. Police are investigating and the public is being asked to let staff members know if they have any information.
Well, it's an unwanted caffeine hit, but new data from the coffee commune shows Queenslanders could soon be paying close to $7 for a cuppa. One expert predicts 4,000 cafes could close across the country if the government doesn't step in with a solution to rising costs.
If prices at cafes aren't low, customers are saying no.
3 years ago, people would go, I'll have this, I'll have that, can I add this, can I add the extra shot? Now we're noticing a decline in the average spend per customer.
Taylor McMahon says milk costs have risen by 50% in the last 6 months and coffee beans have gone up by 40%.
It's definitely impacting regional Queensland.
Well, we're seeing businesses close every day.
The coffee commune is spilling the beans. New data shows a cuppa could soon cost close to $7.
This is the first time in 35 years that I've seen all expenses go up at once.
Phil DeBella wants the state government to address gas and electricity prices and improve the payroll tax threshold. David Crisafulli says the LNP's plan is worth a shot if elected.
Day one, a maintenance guarantee to make sure that we keep the power plant online. And the first bit of legislation, the Making Queensland Safer laws, adult crime, adult time, to drive down insurance premiums.
But Stephen Miles says Labor's already found the right blend.
In Queensland, our concessions ensure that small businesses, family-run businesses, they don't pay payroll tax. And we've supported small business by providing those $650 electricity rebates.
Locals looking for solutions say that's only skimming the surface.
It's a hard time.
Jamie Tanikoff, 7 News.
Farmers are worried there will be standover cane in paddocks for the 4th year in a row, despite mill workers suspending strike action after accepting a pay rise. But Wilmar Sugar's general manager says it's too early to know if there will be excess crop and if strikes are to blame.
It was a sour negotiation which plagued the sugar industry for months.
I think really everyone's just focused on getting the crush off.
55% of Wilmar Sugar employees voted for the new enterprise agreement last week, bringing union strikes to an end. More than 1,300 employees will receive a $2,500 bonus and 12% pay increase by Christmas, with a further 4% next December.
Wilmar have put an offer out on the table that's just going to scrape over the line. We knew it was very mixed what we were getting from our membership.
The vibe out there, yes, some people will obviously be disappointed that voted against it.
Farmers are ready to get on with this season's crush.
We need to be able to get everybody to pull in the same direction. The crushing is well behind.
It's the 4th year there's expected to be standover cane in the paddock, meaning it's likely the industry will be crushing right until Christmas.
So the Wilmar strikes have played a big part in having standover cane, if we do have it, but there are other factors like weather and also mill performance. Mill performance is another big one that has held us up.
But Wilmar Sugar believes it's too early to tell if it's due to the strikes.
I think at the moment it's way too early to talk about standover. I mean, obviously a lot depends on the weather.
Georgie May Walker, 7 News.
A Mackay family has snapped up a tropical island off the northern beaches for $5.6 million after a fierce bidding battle with another local family. Little Green Island, which inspired the children's book series The Chronicles of Narnia, is now back in local hands after previously being owned by British-American movie maker Douglas Gresham. Bidding started at $2 million, with the island featuring a 3-bedroom house and caretaker's cottage.
Well, Queensland teen Byron Waller is aiming high on his mission to raise money for Crohn's disease research. The 14-year-old is flying around Australia to spread awareness after he was diagnosed with the illness earlier this year.
No video games for Byron Waller these school holidays. His gear stick is the real deal, steering a Cessna Caravan.
I fly most of it. The instructor might take over for a bit if the weather's turning on us. But I've done most of the takeoffs and landings.
He's on an 18-day, 10,000-kilometre mission, circumnavigating Australia to raise money for Crohn's disease after his own diagnosis.
And I thought that I'd find a way to give back to the hospital as they've done so much for me.
Byron's only been flying for a year and a half, but his flight instructor and dad Rob are both impressed.
I think it's underestimated how much we should take our hat off to the young fella. He's got a lot of spirit.
The teen Top Gun took off from Brisbane on the weekend before flying to Rockhampton and the Whitsundays.
I love going into Shute Harbour. That was a nice little airstrip, good facilities, and got to go on a little joy flight.
He'll now continue up the Cape of Australia with his next stop Horn Island before flying south all the way to Tasmania. If you want to donate to Byron's cause, go to his website, Teen Pilot Down Under.
We're just grateful for any amount.
Sophie McManus, 7 News.
Yeah, a little legend, isn't he?
I'll tell you what, I was not doing that at 14.
14,
no
I know. What a great cause too, and we hope you can support him as well.
Ahead tonight, we ask locals what they're willing to pay for a cup of coffee.
And are the recent tax cuts really making a difference?
Welcome back. It might look like welcome relief, but many are concerned recent tax cuts aren't making a real difference to household budgets. Experts say spending habits haven't changed much and people are still battling.
It's a crippling reality for so many, choosing whether to put food on the table or keep a roof over their heads.
Our emergency relief, we saw over 1,000 people in a month. You know, coming in to get food supplies, that's really frightening.
I feel very, very sorry for people that aren't on a high wage because they're battling all the time.
Sweeping tax cuts by the federal government came into effect in July and promised relief. But there's been barely any change in spending since then, according to most major banks.
Yeah, well, I think the tax cuts need to be more substantial, to tell you the honest truth.
Experts initially thought the tax cuts would send consumers on a spending spree, but tight purse strings have lingered.
If it was just one thing, people would be able to manage, but you've got food, you've got housing, then you've got medical and schooling.
Homeowners particularly feeling the pinch of high mortgage repayment.
Some people know with their mortgage, their payments have gone up incredibly to the point where something else has got to give.
Experts say relief for household budgets could still be months away, with predictions the Reserve Bank won't be looking at cutting interest rates until May next year.
It's a real problem and I don't think it's going to go away for a while.
Clesianta, 7 News.
Mackay's new weather radar is down again. The Bureau of Meteorology's website says there are technical problems and the radar is currently unavailable due to routine maintenance. It's hoped the service will be back up and running by Friday, with locals encouraged to view surrounding radars like Bowen and to keep a watch for weather warnings.
As we reported earlier, many cafes are battling the increasing costs and warning customers that coffee might soon hit $7 a cup. Star FM's Scott Linden hit the streets to find out just how much people are willing to pay for their daily caffeine fix.
Well, I have to fess up myself. I am a massive coffee drinker. I own a coffee machine at home. I've got one at work as well, but I don't buy much coffee. It looks like we could be paying up to $7 a cup. So will that slow down your coffee buying habit?
So I probably have about 2 cups of coffee a day. Yes.
And will that keep your coffee buying habit up, or will you slow down?
I'll make it at home.
What could you see a cup of coffee going up to? What's acceptable? What would you pay for a cup of coffee?
$5 or $6.
Once you're a coffee lover, it's hard to get away from the stuff.
It is, yeah. It's alcohol, but it's a bit dearer.
What do you reckon it's going to end up being for a standard coffee these days? What does it look like?
Not good, but look, at the end of the day, everything's going up. It's the milk's probably worse.
Oh, I don't know. Good one, $7, I suppose. It's a necessity of life.
No, I'd continue to buy.
We all need coffee, don't we?
We do, definitely. I do.
If it's the caffeine you're after, maybe it's time to swap to a cup of tea instead. Hopefully the price of those beans come down. But in the short term, looks like it's going up. I'll catch you next Tuesday for Street Talk here on 7 News.
$7, Luke. Your shout next time?
I might just go back to the green tea, maybe.
Might be the way to go. Thanks for that, Scott. The Australian women, Luke, they're in town for the T20 series.
Yeah, what an exciting time this is, Jo. They will host New Zealand in Mackay for the first 2 matches at Great Barrier Reef Arena. We'll have more on the cricket next, including the star fullback ready to light up the final stage against the Sharks on Friday. But will Nico Hines play?
Stream 7 News anywhere, anytime, live and on demand on 7plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.
And welcome back to 7 News. Well, Coach Todd Payten has had the luxury to pick and stick this week for their do-or-die semi-final against the Sharks on Friday. The Cowboys have named the same side that beat the Knights in week 1 of the finals, and all eyes will be on Scott Drinkwater, and for good reason.
He's the spark that can set the Cowboys' attack alight.
Well, I guess that's why I'm picked. So that's my job, and I've got to stand up in those moments to get my hands on the footy.
But Scott Drinkwater wouldn't consider himself a big game player just yet.
I want to call myself a big game player. I probably haven't played enough of them, but definitely excite me.
The 27-year-old is leading the NRL in line break assists with a staggering 35 this season. He also sits in second for try assists with 28.
I just trust myself, trust my instinct. if it doesn't come off, I don't get overwhelmed by it all.
He has a licence to thrill as long as it doesn't come with any spills.
If there's a couple of minutes left and stuff, he'll be all right, but no, he's quite conservative, Toddy.
They left it late to take down the Knights, something they don't intend to repeat against a circling Sharks.
As a spine, we need to be better with our end of sets, I think, to really put the nail in the coffin.
Nico Hines is the Sharks' danger man, and the Cowboys fullback knows that better than most. The two played each other growing up in New South Wales, but there's been calls for Cronulla to cut him.
When it's good, and when you're riding a high, they want to. I've just tried to avoid it as much as I can. I've got to really focus on what this team needs from me, and my team needs me present.
The Cowboys have named the same side that defeated the Knights last weekend. Emma Halliday, 7 News.
Well, Trans-Tasman rivalry will be on full display when Australia's women stare down New Zealand this week. Mackay will host the majority of the T20 series with the hope of inspiring the next generation of cricketers.
Gearing up for a massive T20 series in Mackay, there was much praise for the quality of the venue.
Personally, being from the country myself, I know how amazing it is when professional sides come out and play in the country, and this facility is one of probably the best in Australia.
The T20 International Series was launched today. Australia focused on dealing with New Zealand, a fortnight out from the T20 Women's World Cup.
They're the kind of team that can take a game away from you just by the likes of their top order with the bat, and then a few really key spinners in their teams.
Spending time with local juniors ahead of their first game, batter Phoebe Litchfield says she hopes to serve as an inspiration for Generation Next.
Brings you closer to your dream, and hopefully we can be that for regional kids and kids anywhere in Australia, to be fair. But so meeting some of them today, they had some great talents.
It will mark the 4th international event to be held at the arena, with CEO Adrian Young pushing to position Harra Park as a major sporting hub.
We'll be pushing forward to try and obviously increase that going forward, and we're really optimistic about that.
The first T20 gets underway at the Great Barrier Reef Arena on Thursday night. Connor Marcellus, 7 News.
Mackay Monarchs under-16 netball titles came to an end at Nissan Arena today. After a tight opening first quarter, Mackay couldn't keep up with the Capricorn Claws, eventually going down 36-19. It's Mackay's 12th defeat over the course of the 4-day meet. One of their better results was at the weekend, going down to Townsville City by 6 points. Sure, no doubt better for the experience.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thanks for that, Luke.
Oh, thank you, Luke. After the break, Dani Sharp has all the details on the weather.
Good evening, Dani Sharp with tonight's weather. As expected, we had a mostly fine day across the region, a little cloudy at times, and this morning felt especially brisk, but temperatures are about to bounce back. Before we dive into that forecast, a quick check of today's conditions. Temperatures hit 23 degrees in Mackay, 26 for Balme and Proserpine, 23 out on the island. On the satellite loop, cloud over North Queensland has gifted Cairns with constant showers today, leaving a gloomy impression for Townsville as well. Linda at Mission Beach asked why we're still seeing rain from the north when we have all that wind from the southeast. So basically, all weather systems move west to east, but high pressure in the tropics sends these moist onshore winds back to the coast, and that traps the wet weather in for a little bit longer. On today's synoptic chart, we can see the reason for those strong southeasterly winds too. A cold front sitting in the Tasman is sending all its windy leftovers up the east coast. Tomorrow, a big high-pressure system should keep most of the state dry, but showers will still be possible in the far north. On the outlook chart, that air mass over northern Queensland becomes a lot less stable once you throw a trough and a high-pressure ridge into the mix. It means we could see the odd storm in the tropics, otherwise partly cloudy conditions for the rest of the state. And now the latest from the Weather Bureau, the boating forecast for Mackay waters sees around 1.5 metres. Winds start easterly, reaching up to 25 knots north of Hamilton Island tomorrow morning and settling down over the next few days. There is a full moon tomorrow night, which means we'll have our highest tide 4 hours from now, peaking at over 6 metres. Tomorrow, high at around 11 at Mackay, low in the evening. For the Central Coast and Whitsundays, partly cloudy tomorrow, showers are not at all likely, winds stretching from the mid-teens to 20s. For the Central Highlands and Coalfields, it looks sunny, with a touch of frost again for the Carnarvon Ranges, winds strongest in the morning. Looking ahead for Mackay, Saturday is looking steamy. A warm welcome for the start of next week too. Definitely a hot weekend ahead for September. The rest of this week looks pretty clear though. Sunshine from Saturday, 31 degrees, 30 for Sunday. 29 is the top on Monday. Tomorrow though, we're just looking at a mild 26. And that's all from me for tonight. I'll leave you with a challenge ahead of tomorrow. There's a full moon, which means an awesome chance for a picture. If you snap the moon in a cool spot, send it to our socials, Instagram, Facebook, whatever floats your boat. Until then, guys, get ready for some very warm weather.
Thank you, Dani, and that's all from us tonight. Thank you so much for your company.
And also a reminder, you can watch a replay of 7 News on 7 Plus, or you can download the 7 News app. And from all of us here, good night.
Good night.